You started on an Su-33, press escape and change slot to an Su-35. You are now on a Su-35 at the runway, ready to take off.
Voice notification unit operational.
Today we will learn how to navigate the Sukhoi Su-35, developed by codename Flanker Community for DCS, using pre-planned waypoints following a mission route established on the mission editor. The aircraft is on the runway ready for takeoff. The mission consists of takeoff, fly low level following a pre-designated route, use of autopilot. The mission ends at Vatsiani Air Base, no need to land. Press spacebar to begin. As on this mission we will be performing low-level navigation, we will adjust the auto-recovery system, which on DCS is enabled by default. This system automatically attempts to level off the aircraft if it goes lower than a preset minimum altitude. You can enable or disable the auto-recovery using the highlighted switch on the left panel, up to disable, down to enable. For safety, we will leave auto-recovery enabled, but we will change its minimum engagement altitude using the Alt-Warn option of the CDU. You can set it between 100 to 2,000 meters in increments of 100, by clicking repeatedly on the highlighted button. Set it to 100 meters. Good, now the auto-recovery engagement altitude is set to 100 meters, press spacebar to continue. As this mission begins with our aircraft on the runway, the ATC has already given us the takeoff clearance on runway 22. This runway is oriented to around 220 degrees, so enter that course onto our navigation system by pressing the SC button on the right MFD, as we saw on the takeoff training mission. Then turn the brightness knob until the wide arrow of the HSI points to 220 degrees. Good, now press SC again to store the course value. We will next set up the navigation mode, using the UFCP Select En Route mode. The sixth line of the UFCP indicates that Waypoint 0 is currently selected. Press the highlighted button to select Waypoint 1. On the CDU, select Waypoint mode to auto, but note that this feature is not yet implemented on DCS, so we will still need to manually advance the next waypoint as we pass over each one during the flight. The figure describes the main symbology of the HUD on nav mode. The flight plan speed and altitude for each waypoint is set on the mission editor. Make sure that Waypoint 1 is selected as our next destination, then press spacebar to continue. On the left multifunction display, the TO button selects the tactical display, used both for combat and for navigation. The FPL button lets you show or hide our flight plan and waypoints. Try it but leave the flight plan visible as we will use it later. Press spacebar to continue. The AER button shows or hides the blue airbase icons, to declutter the display. Leave it as desired and press spacebar to continue. The View button toggles the background color of the display, black for daylight or gray for night operations. Set as desired and press spacebar to continue. The CS button toggles our own ship position on the display, on the center of it, or on a lower position to allow better view of our front hemisphere. Leave it as desired and press spacebar to continue. At this point you would perform the before takeoff procedure, but we already covered that on the taxi and takeoff training mission, so in the interest of saving time, we will skip it this time. However, if you want to follow the procedure just for practice's sake, the figure at left is a reminder of the steps of this procedure. Press spacebar to continue. We covered the takeoff procedure on the prior training mission, so this time we will provide much more concise instructions. Your aircraft is already aligned with the runway axis, so disconnect its nose wheel steering. Fully apply wheel brakes to prevent the aircraft from moving. Smoothly advance throttles to military power. Now release the brakes. Depending on weight and runway length, advance throttle into afterburner. Pull back on the stick to begin rotation at around 250 km/h. Airborne. Once positive climb is achieved, retract the landing gear. Turn the aircraft to the left, until the vertical arrow that points to Waypoint 1 is on the center of the bearing tape, such that you will fly towards it. You are reaching Waypoint 1. Unfortunately, the next waypoint of the flight plan is not automatically selected, so press the highlighted button to select Waypoint 2. Good. Now turn hard to the right until you set course to Waypoint 2, like you did earlier with Waypoint 1. You are near Waypoint 2. To our left is Novorossiysk Air Base. Press the highlighted button to select Waypoint 3. Okay, now turn left to set course to Waypoint 3. You are nearing Waypoint 3. To our left is Krimsk Air Base. Press the button to select Waypoint 4. Good. Now turn right to set course to Waypoint 4. To save player time while navigating from one waypoint to the next, DCS provides bindings for controlling the simulated time, so that you can accelerate or decelerate time as you see fit. Try it now. Press left Ctrl plus Z to accelerate time. One press will set time to 2 times the normal. Additional presses will accelerate further to 3 times, 4 times, and so on. Good. You can toggle the DCS information bar at the bottom of the screen to visualize what the current time acceleration factor is. We will return time to normal. You are nearing Waypoint 5. To our left is the Krasnodar-Pashkovsky Air Base. Now select Waypoint 5. Okay, now turn right to set course to Waypoint 5. The Su-35 flight control system includes an autopilot, which offers a total of 5 autopilot modes. 4 of them can be activated from the left main panel, and the last one is activated from the flight stick. You can only activate one mode at a time. Activating a different one will reset the previous one. The top illustration shows the 4 modes available in the left panel. You can either click on one of its buttons to activate the mode, or press one of the autopilot keyboard bindings shown below. Press spacebar to continue. The attitude hold mode of the autopilot will maintain the current pitch and roll angle of the aircraft. Let's try it. First bank the aircraft to the right or left, while simultaneously pulling the control stick slightly back to lift the aircraft nose 5 to 10 degrees. Next you will enable the attitude hold mode, either by pressing left Alt+1, or by clicking the highlighted button on the left console. Good. Now release the flight stick and note that the aircraft will maintain its current pitch and bank angles by itself. Note also that the FCS will resist manual changes of pitch or bank that you may attempt with the flight stick. Press spacebar to continue. If you want to manually alter the attitude of the aircraft, you must pause the autopilot by pressing and holding the pause AP command, which you should bind onto a button of your HOTAS. Let's try this. Press and hold the binding left Alt+U. Now move the flight stick and note that the FCS will not fight you as before. Maneuver the aircraft into a different attitude and then release the binding. Good. Now release the flight stick and note that the aircraft will maintain this new pitch and bank attitude by itself. Press spacebar to continue. To exit in autopilot mode, you can simply press on the same button or binding you used to enable it. Try it now and exit the attitude hold mode.
Control manually.
Note that exiting in autopilot mode does not affect the current attitude of the aircraft. It will keep flying on the same attitude until the pilot maneuvers again. Before continuing the training, please level the aircraft now. You could also simply deactivate the autopilot altogether with the U key. Replicating the real aircraft, you can bind it to a HOTAS button. The figure shows the button used on the real aircraft. Press spacebar to learn about the altitude hold modes of the autopilot. The autopilot offers 2 altitude hold modes, barometric and radar. However, the latter is not yet implemented for DCS, so we can only employ the barometric altitude hold. The barometric altitude hold mode of the autopilot will maintain the current barometric altitude of the aircraft. If your bank angle is less than 10 degrees, it will level the plane to 0 degrees bank. Otherwise, it will keep the bank angle as is. Let's try it. First bank the aircraft to the right or left, while simultaneously pulling the control stick slightly back to lift the aircraft nose 5 to 10 degrees. Next you will enable the barometric altitude hold mode, either by pressing left Alt+2, or by clicking the highlighted button on the left console. Good. Now release the flight stick and note that the aircraft will stop climbing and will maintain the altitude it had when you enabled the mode. Note that the altitude can oscillate a bit before the autopilot attains level flight. Press spacebar to continue. The radar altitude hold mode will maintain current altitude using the radio altimeter, which limits its use to a maximum altitude of 1500 meters. As with the prior mode, it will level the aircraft if the bank angle is less than 10 degrees. Unfortunately, this autopilot mode is not implemented yet. Click its button to continue. This will cancel the prior autopilot mode. The path following is an advanced mode of the autopilot, where the aircraft follows a predetermined path set by the pilot using waypoints. This autopilot mode is not yet implemented. Click its button to continue. This will cancel the prior mode. The auto level mode of the autopilot will automatically bring your aircraft back to level flight. It is activated with the keys left Control+U, which you probably should bind to a button on your HOTAS, mimicking the real aircraft. Let's try it. First bank the aircraft to the right or left, while simultaneously pulling the control stick slightly back to lift the aircraft nose.
Control manually.
Now press the auto level button or use the keys left control plus U. Good, the aircraft should have leveled by itself. Useful when hard maneuvering has disoriented you. Several conditions can force an automatic pause or reset of the currently active autopilot mode, or prevent activating autopilot, like an angle of attack over 15 degrees, more than 90% stick input in roll or pitch axis, or if the landing gear is deployed, if thrust vectoring is on, or while GCES is active and conducting recovery process, or if the electric system has failed or turned off. Press spacebar to conclude this section on autopilot employment. We have drifted away from our route while trying out the autopilot. Turn the aircraft towards Waypoint 6.
Control manually.
Strive to maintain an altitude of 500 meters over the terrain, and an airspeed of 900 kilometers per hour indicated.
Altitude low.
You are reaching Waypoint 5, to our right is the Makop-Konskaya Airbase. Select Waypoint 6 as our new destination waypoint. Good, now turn left to set course towards Waypoint 6.
Control manually.
You are nearing Waypoint 6. To our right is the Mineral Naivati Air Base. Now select Waypoint 7 as our next destination. Good. Now turn slightly right to set course to Waypoint 7.
Control manually.
You are almost over Waypoint 7. To our right is Nalchik Air Base. Select Waypoint 8 as our next destination. Okay, now turn hard left to set course to Waypoint 8.
Control manually. Altitude low. Control manually. Control manually.
You are nearing Waypoint 8. To our right is Beslan Air Base. Now select Waypoint 9 as our next destination. Good. Now turn slightly left to set course to Waypoint 9.
Control manually. Altitude low.
You are almost over waypoint 9. Select waypoint 10 next. Okay, now turn hard right to set course to waypoint 10, which is the endpoint of our flight plan. You have successfully reached the final waypoint of our flight plan, completing this Waypoint Navigation and Autopilot training mission for the Su-35. We have covered the following aspects: takeoff, fly low-level following a pre-designated route, employing time acceleration, and use of autopilot. Press spacebar to exit the mission.